The Just Lead Advancing Racial Equity Conference, hosted by New Detroit, brought together national and local speakers who provided compelling insights into racial equity and justice. Kari Frazier, Detroit is Different, provides you conversations with some of the phenomenal guests, talking dismantling racism with collaborative solutions.
Hi, Andrew Stein here at the Just Lead Conference for New Detroit.
Detroit is Different here at the Just Lead Conference 2023. Andrew Stein. Andrew, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, all is well, all is well. So, really, this year, we're picking up with racial equity. Last year, we had a discussion about diversity, equity, and inclusion, but now we're highlighting what that racial equity means. Your experience at City Year, you're interacting with a lot of young people, often in that out of high school, college age. When we think of this from an intergenerational discussion, how does that become inclusive in understanding even how communication happens, how culture is traveling, just the differences in age alone for institutions and structures to understand how to be inclusive, but furthermore, how to get that equity for all?
Spent my whole career working with young people, from City Year, now at the Children's Foundation. I keep getting older, though, but the people that I am working with and the communities that I'm seeking to serve are always kids and young people. So I've taken a lot from today. I found myself nodding many times this morning, hearing from organizational leaders. We had a lot of white men on panels this morning talking about their role within their companies and organizations around advancing racial equity, and that's something as a white male leader I think a lot about. I think some of the stuff that really resonated with me was, equity shows up within institutions through process a lot, and a way for to demonstrate equity as a leader, I think, is being willing to listen and then respond and act on what you hear. And I have found, whether it's at City Year or in my role now with the Children's Foundation, elevating the voice of the young people that we're working with, the families we're serving, but then you actually have to listen, and then you actually got to respond to that in an authentic, meaningful way. And when you do that, you start to, I think, you're empowering them because you're really carrying forward the work that they're looking to get done. And I think I've looked at my role as trying to do more and more of that. And I think that's, a way that you can take equity from, we care about equity, to this is what it starts to look like in practice, which I think is what a theme that was discussed a lot this morning.
And I'm going to keep pushing on that whole thing about that intergenerational, because it's sometimes tough just getting the intergenerational equity itself. And then you add a layer of race on top. What are the disconnects that you see just with that age gap that does exist to understand even the culture of how younger people are interacting, communicating, building those relationships?
Yeah, there's probably always a sense that, if young people just, when they get a little more experience and wisdom, then they'll understand. And, that's an easy way to then never make any change, right? I think that, I got to surround myself, I think of my leadership, I got to surround myself with people who can help me understand, the needs and the voices of young people right now. I can't be the only one to receive that information. And then I think ultimately, young people, especially kids, are just really good at, they can spot a phony right away. And so you got to be authentic in how you're approaching young people, how you're working with them, and, whatever the intergenerational differences are, or, I think that just honesty, authenticity, and ultimately doing what you say you're going to do kind of wins out across generations and cultural differences.
Which leads to the last question. Right now, we're in a space, especially when we think about this region, where politically things are about to shift fast from a national, a state, and a local. Where do you feel politically this racial equity discussion lies in what's going to happen legislatively? What moves forward for what will happen in legislation, and then how important is that for young people?
How is that important for?
For young people,
Yeah, I mean, I think that I wouldn't say racial equity was an explicit political issue, 10, 15 years ago or so, the way it is now. And I think that that is very much in large part to young people elevating the issue, and the expectations of our elected officials are rightfully so that this should be an issue to work on. I think that this is coming at a time where, unfortunately, some across the political spectrum have used, as they often have for many, many generations, this issue of race as a wedge issue, and divided. In many ways, we're so divided on it, but I think we also share the same values of equality and wanting, to provide opportunity for people. So I think that young people have a big role to play in continuing to make this an agenda item. I'm hopeful that our politicians respond to that and listen and act on it.